Let's face it, nobody wants to be that person stranded on the side of the road with steam billowing from their hood, or worse, facing a repair bill that costs more than their monthly rent. While every car eventually shows its age, some engines are built like tanks, quietly racking up hundreds of thousands of miles while barely breaking a sweat. Today we're diving into automotive royalty, 10 engines that laugh in the face of time and prove that some things really can last forever. Well, almost. These powerhouses aren't just reliable, they're the kind of engine that gets passed down through generations, outlasting relationships, fashion trends, and probably a few presidents too. But before we get started, please remember to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and turn on the notification icon to see more videos like this. Number 10. The Toyota 22R RE. If engines could survive a nuclear apocalypse, the Toyota 22R RE would probably be leading the pack. First introduced in the early 1980s, this 4-cylinder workhorse is the very definition of they don't make them like they used to. While it won't win any races with its modest 113 horsepower, this engine has something far more valuable: the ability to keep running when everything else gives up. What makes the 22R RE so special? It's refreshingly simple. Before computers took over our engine bays, Toyota created this mechanical masterpiece with one goal: to outlast everything else on the road. Pop the hood of any 1980s Toyota pickup or 4Runner with this engine, and you might find 200,000, 300,000, or even 400,000 miles on the clock, with the engine still purring like a kitten, albeit a slightly tired one. The legends about this engine's durability aren't just tall tales. There are documented cases of 22 RREs surviving everything from desert heat to complete water submersion. One famous story tells of a pickup that spent 3 days underwater during a flood, and after a quick oil change and new spark plugs, fired up like nothing happened. Now that's what we call resilient. Number 9. Honda K20. If you've ever heard of a Honda K20 engine singing its way to its 8,000 RPM redline, you know why gearheads get misty-eyed talking about this masterpiece. Introduced in the early 2000s, the K20 is proof that you can have your cake and eat it too, combining hair-raising performance with Toyota-level reliability. Yeah, we said it. While most high-performance engines tend to be as temperamental as a hungry toddler, the K20 breaks the mold. It's the engineering equivalent of an Olympic athlete who never gets tired. Whether it's powering a Civic Type R through mountain passes or serving daily driver duties in an Acura RSX, this engine consistently hits the 200,000-mile mark, while asking for a little more than regular oil changes and routine maintenance. What's even more impressive is how well it handles modifications. While many engines wave the white flag when tuners start adding boost, the K20 seems to thrive on it. There are countless examples of modified K20s pushing serious power, without sacrificing that legendary Honda reliability. It's no wonder you'll find these engines everywhere from weekend track warriors to reliable daily commuters, still pulling hard well into 6-digit mileage territory. Number 8. Ford 4.9-liter Inline 6. If reliability wore a blue collar and packed a lunch pail, it would be Ford's 4.9-liter Inline 6. This no-nonsense workhorse might not be the sexiest engine ever built, but it's the mechanical equivalent of that old-timer at work who never calls in sick and can outwork people half their age. Born in an era when simplicity ruled, this straight-six engine was Ford's answer to the question, what if we built something that just refused to die? From 1965 to 1996, these engines powered everything from the F-Series trucks to delivery vans, earning a reputation that would make other engines blush. With torque that could nearly pull a horse off its foundation, the 300 Inline 6 became the go-to choice for anyone who valued reliability over flash. Ask any farmer, contractor, or delivery driver who's put one through its paces, and they'll tell you the same thing. These engines just keep going. We're talking 300,000, 400,000, and even 500,000 miles with basic maintenance. There are documented cases of these engines running on 5 cylinders for years because their owners couldn't be bothered to fix them, and they still showed up for work every single day. Number 7. Mercedes-Benz OM617. If Greek mythology had an engine, the OM617 would be the diesel-powered titan that time forgot. This 5-cylinder beast from Stuttgart isn't just an engine, it's a masterclass in German over-engineering that makes other reliable engines look like they're built from Lego blocks. Introduced in 1974, the OM617 quickly became the darling of European taxi fleets, and for good reason. While other engines were calling it quits at 200,000 miles, these diesel warriors were just warming up. We're talking about engines that regularly clock 600,000 miles. And that's not a typo. There are documented cases of OM617-powered Mercedes taxis surpassing 1 million kilometers, still purring along with their distinctive diesel clatter that sounds like a mechanical symphony to diesel enthusiasts. But here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just some slow-poke workhorse. In its turbocharged form, the OM617 showed its wild side by powering a Mercedes C111 Type 3 prototype to multiply diesel land speed records. Imagine that, an engine reliable enough to run forever, yet capable enough to set speed records. It's like finding out your accountant is secretly a championship boxer. Number 6. Nissan SR20DE. If reliability had a wild side, it would be the Nissan SR20DE. Think of it as the straight-A student who also happens to be the life of the party. Born in the golden age of Japanese performance, this engine proves that you don't have to choose between having fun and being dependable. The SR20DE and its supercharged sibling, the SR20DET, earned its stripes in the demanding world of drifting, where engines are routinely pushed to their absolute limits. While most engines would wave the white flag after a few sessions of redline abuse, the SR20 just asks, "Is that all you got?" We're talking about an engine that can handle the daily commute to work, spend the weekend being thrashed around at a drift circuit, and then casually cruise past 200,000 miles like it's no big deal. What makes this engine truly special is its split personality. In stock form, it's as reliable as your grandmother's kitchen clock. But start adding modifications and it transforms into a fire-breathing monster that somehow maintains its bulletproof reliability. It's not uncommon to find heavily modified SR20s, still running strong after years of abuse that would have sent fewer engines to the scrapyard. Number 5. Chevrolet Small Block V8. Let's talk about an engine so iconic it's practically woven into the American flag. The Chevy Small Block V8 isn't just an engine, it's the mechanical equivalent of blue jeans and rock and roll. A slice of Americana that's been powering dreams since Elvis was still shaking his hips. Born in 1955, the small block, particularly the legendary 350 cubic inch version, is like that unbreakable hammer in your grandfather's toolbox. It's simple, effective, and refuses to quit. While modern engines need a computer science degree to understand, this V8 follows a simpler philosophy. 8 cylinders, plenty of torque, and a design so straightforward, you could practically fix it with a hammer and a screwdriver, though we don't recommend that. The beauty of this small block lies in its versatility. Want to cruise smoothly down the highway in your Camaro? It'll do that. Need to tow a trailer with your pickup? No problem. Feel like building a tire-smoking hot rod? Now you're really speaking its language. These engines have powered everything from family sedans to NASCAR racers, and they just keep coming back for more. What makes it truly special is its forgiveness. While other engines throw a fit if you look at them the wrong way, the small block is like that friend who's always got your back. Missed an oil change? It'll grumble but keep running. Need to fix something? Parts are everywhere, and any mechanic worth their salt can work on one blindfolded. Again, not recommended. Number 4. BMW M30. Meet the BMW M30, or as BMW enthusiasts call it, the God Motor. If engines could write resumes, this one would need multiple pages to list its achievements. From 1968 to 1994, this straight-six masterpiece was BMW's way of showing the world what happens when German engineering meets perfection. Think of the M30 as the James Bond of engines, smooth, sophisticated, and seemingly immortal. While other engines of its era were busy being temperamental prima donnas, The M30 was quietly setting the standard for what a luxury car engine should be. It delivers power with the smoothness of honey flowing from a jar, yet packs enough punch to remind you that you're driving the ultimate driving machine. The real magic of the M30 isn't just in its performance, it's in its longevity. These engines regularly cruise past 300,000 miles, with the confidence of a marathon runner who's just getting warmed up. There are documented cases of M30s pushing 500,000 miles, still purring along with that signature BMW Inline 6 Symphony that makes car enthusiasts weak in the knees. Number 3. Chrysler Slant 6. Nicknamed the Leaning Tower of Power due to its distinctive 30-degree tilt, which wasn't just for show, it allowed for a lower hood line and better packaging. This engine is what you'd get if you asked a tank to mate with a sewing machine. It's brutally tough, yet runs with the consistency of a metronome. While other engines from its era have long since become garage decorations, the Slant 6 just keeps chugging along decade after decade. What makes this power plant truly remarkable isn't its horsepower, which was modest, or its technological innovation. It was deliberately simple. It's the fact that you practically had to try to kill one. We're talking about engines that have run without oil, survived overheating, and been subjected to the kind of maintenance schedules that would make a mechanic cry, yet they refuse to die. Number 2. Toyota 2JZ GTE. Made famous by the Mk4 Supra and about a million Fast and Furious references, the 2JZ GTE is what happens when Toyota engineers apparently got tired of making sensible engines and decided to build something utterly insane. Stock, it's already a 320 horsepower twin-turbo masterpiece that can easily cruise past 300,000 miles while barely breaking a sweat. But that's just the beginning of the story. Here's where things get crazy. While most engines start waving white flags when tuners come knocking, the 2JZ practically begs for more power. We're talking about an engine that can handle double, triple, or even quadruple its stock power output without needing to crack open the block. Want to push 1,000 horsepower on stock internals? The 2JZ just yawns and asks, "Is that all you've got?" But here's the real kicker. Despite being capable of astronomical power figures, it's still Toyota reliable in daily driving. It's the equivalent of having a trained assassin who's also really good at doing your taxes. There are countless stories of heavily modified 2JZs that still start up every morning like they're fresh off the assembly line. Even after years of abuse, that would have sent lesser engines to the great junkyard in the sky. Number 1. Volvo B230. If reliability was an Olympic sport, the B230 would be on the all-time podium wearing nothing but gold medals. This four-cylinder warrior, most famous for powering Volvo's legendary 240 and 740 models, approaches durability with the same philosophy Volvo uses for their crash testing. Let's build it like we're preparing for Armageddon. What makes the B230 truly special isn't just its ability to rack up miles, though hitting 500,000 miles is so common for these engines that Volvo owners barely consider it an achievement. No, what's remarkable is how it does it. With all the drama of a librarian organizing books, it doesn't scream about its accomplishments or demand attention. It just keeps running, decade after decade, through snow, heat, rain, and probably a few apocalypses. The secret? Swedish pragmatism at its finest. While other manufacturers were chasing horsepower numbers and sexy spec sheets, Volvo was building an engine with tolerances that would make NASA engineers nod in approval. The cooling system is engineered to survive Scandinavian winters and Mediterranean summers with equal aplomb. Even today, decades after production ended, you'll find these engines still faithfully serving their owners, often with enough miles on the clock to have circled the globe multiple times. They're not just engines, they're proof that with the right engineering, automotive immortality isn't just possible, it's guaranteed. And there you have it, folks. Our countdown of the 10 most unkillable engines ever made. Each one is a testament to what happens when engineers decide to build something that laughs in the face of time itself. Remember, they don't make them like this anymore, but thankfully, these legends are still out there, proving that some things really can last forever.